Hi class, welcome to chapter 13 for IS 371. I'm Professor Fahmi Jalani. Today we'll be covering on implementation of the IT security policy. Um, we will take a look at the process of simplifying the implementation, uh, the target state, executive buy-in, cost and impact, policy language, development and implementation strategies for security awareness policy, policy implementation and issues. So let's take a look at the diagram uh, for the process flow in implementing policy. So here you see the loop, top down, from compliance, target state, executive buy-in and impact, policy languages, employee awareness and training, policy implementation, governance and monitoring. So in the process of implementation, or after it has been implemented, when there is a threat, okay, it needs to be reviewed, okay, or even a business risk. The threat will lead to a business risk. Okay, we will take a look in detail on each of the point later on. Okay. Um, Next, we take a look at overcoming technical hindrance to policy, which include infrastructure, technology, whether it's updated or outdated, okay, and also standard of IT infrastructure, which is included. In terms of expanded layers of control, in this case, outdated technology, it covers from application system, okay, segmentation control, okay, things like different departments and also network control. So there's different level of it. Target state, divided by 3. We have business risk, compliance and also threat vector. uh, Basically is to reduce the business risk to accepted level. In this case, for example, uh, if a PC, one of the PC is being compromised, what's the level? Is it okay out of 1 out of 10 or 1 out of 100, things like that. Then compliance, okay, are they following the law and regulation? It could be the standard or even the government standard, for example, in terms of social security number, credit card, for example. Threat vector, prevention, mitigate, okay, when threat is detected. So next we take a look at executive buy-in. This covers things like commitment of level of being asked to the team, right? Um, what's the impact of the current environment? Okay, policy, how they are addressing it. What's the success rate? Uh, these are technically referring to the senior management. Also in terms of sponsorship, usually user are usually, or the employee are involved, okay, in training and awareness. Also another very important thing is funding, okay, whether they have enough money to implement this policy, because for example training, software all need course, communication with the management, okay, and all the stakeholder support. Next, we have how do we overcome non-technical hindrance? Okay, for example, environment, user type, organization challenges. Okay, for example, if you have a contractor, okay, user type could be level 1, 2, 3. Okay, normal user, managers, mid-level, and even executive. Right. Following that, we have policy, language. This is basically how to ensure whether the agreement, okay, is clear to the target state. In this case, for example, the user. Clear and concise policy language. In this case, for example, instruction. Okay, right. Use word like should. Okay, accountability. Right. Try not to get a specific product, for example. Okay, for example, you need to use this specific antivirus, means there are others, you see. Next, we have training and awareness. Okay. So this is basically to equip the employee with proper skill, okay, values, and also not forgetting support. Having said that, there is a need for motivation, okay, in terms of following the process, okay, and accountability if they do not, right. Implementation, okay, right, on a certain level, for example, viruses or not enabling the user to download or install any other software. How the policy perceived, okay. Is it useful or is it acceptable, right? Okay. And also training and awareness. So next we have network access control. So we have things like data granted, right, for new employees, okay, promoted, okay, the different roles, all user, for example, training, post incident, right, also vendor and contractor, right. In terms of training and awareness, it could be classroom, computer based, survey, focus group, okay, interviews, exit interviews, okay, reporting, right. Next, we have HR ownership for new employee orientation. So new employees, okay, need to be trained other than background check, okay. So usually the new employee will not be able to access sensitive data, okay, right. But you want them to get working as soon as possible. Next, we take a look at AUP, acceptable use of policy, which basically defines whether what is acceptable, what is unacceptable in terms of technology. Okay, what's the responsibility? For example, your own password, you need to keep it safe so other people don't usually put your sticky note on the table, for example. Okay, handling of customer data, for example, right. Sending sensitive data, okay, outside the company, for example, okay, and also IP rights, okay, intellectual property rights. The company could be inventing something new and you don't want other people, your competitor, to know, for example. So to inform how to educate the employee, various method, formal, informal classroom, traditional, face-to-face, was implemented online, for example. Cultures which sensitive, some also in different languages, English or Hispanic. Okay, who are the audience? Could be matured audience, or maybe normal user, or executive, or mid-level. What's the plan? Is there any hard copy, for example, from the internet, PDF, for example, available on the intranet? Sometimes you can send an email attachment, for example, or even over lunch, brown bag. Some issues, there could be some resistance, for example, changing attitudes. Okay, perception of the employee. Sometimes they say we keep get training, but nothing happens. Like, better to be trained than not to be trained. See, and also you need to win their hearts and mind. Like, companies could have initiative or KPI, which could be a monetary bonus, for example. Also, not forgetting accountability for personal, directive enforcement, and so value. Next, we take a look at governance and monitoring, where technically is to ensure that they are being used, adopted, and very effective. Okay, the committee usually consists of security team, business side leaders. Okay, prioritizing and decision making. Also monitoring number of successful breaches, attacks. Okay, things like that. Best practice for security policy implementation. Okay, consists of, it could be operation day to day. Okay, educate end user, create support. Basically ongoing. So that's pretty much it for the class today. If you have any question, feel free to email me.